During the war between Tian Nan and Mulan, when Han Li was in the early Nascent Soul stage, he faced a female mid-Nascent Soul stage cultivator. What kind of sparks would fly between the two of them? Han Li's eyelids twitched a few times. He slowly opened his eyes. Louis Arthur, as expected, there's a mid-Nascent Soul stage mage inside. But how could it be a female mage? Han Li muttered a few words to himself. Then, after thinking for a moment, he slapped his storage pouch with one hand. After a flash of brilliant light, a set of formation-laying tools appeared in his hand. Han Li's figure flickered. In just a moment, he laid out a formation from the tools he carried, the most powerful type of temporary formation. Yinyu, come out. Han Li gave a command. With a flick of his other large sleeve, a small fox shot out from his cuff. It landed in front of Han Li. I'll leave this sicking dew for you to use. Also, you take this Wayland Gubba as well. The opponent this time might be even more troublesome than senior sister Warner. You must be extra careful. If the opponent's divine abilities are truly formidable, there's no need to fight them head-on. Lure it here. We will use the Wu Hai restriction and the formation set by my subordinates to test our strength against it again. If that is still not enough, then so be it. We will just withdraw and leave. There is no need to fight it to the death. Han Li ordered with a calm expression. Then, with a flip of her hand, the Zikang Du and the flower basket ancient citadel appeared in her palm one after another. She tossed them directly to Zihu. Yes, master. Zibai. Just as before, conceal yourself in the shadows. Strike to provide aid at the opportune moment. A white light flashed around Zihu. After a tumble, she transformed into a gorgeous young woman. After bowing respectfully to Han Li, her fierce charm now fully revealed, she said, Good, it is still the same. Last time, when we dealt with the great elder of the Yanhui sect, you chose the perfect moment to strike. Han Li nodded, responding to the rare words of praise. She said, Thank you, master, you flatter me. Zibai will continue to do her best. Tucking away the two treasures in her hand, she gave a slight leap and a faint smile. Then a yellow light flashed before Han Li, and she vanished into thin air. Seeing this, Han Li's gaze flickered a few times. She then raised her hand and glanced into the distance. A flash of green light passed over her face. With a flash of golden light, the figure vanished into the mist on one side. At the same time, numerous cultivators ventured deep into the mist. Before long, the remaining traps in the sea of mist began to trigger one after another. A murderous aura flared up repeatedly. Fortunately, most of the cultivators were closely following the giant beast, clearing the path ahead. These traps were all absorbed by this beast. It endured them with complete indifference, whether it was fireballs, ice spikes, lightning, or fire, or spitting thorns and various other elemental attacks. They were like a mere scratch when they hit the giant beast's body. They had no effect whatsoever. They were easily deflected by the jet black armor on its body, and this giant beast paid no mind to these attacks. It just charged forward single-mindedly. No matter what kind of restrictive barrier appeared before it, it smashed them all open with its massive body. With unstoppable momentum, in one go, it charged into the first open area that was cleared by the fire meteor. The place was over 100 yards wide. All the mist had completely vanished, and at this time, the group of cultivators following the beast had not lost a single person. But strangely enough, only 4 cultivators in this group had the highest cultivation level. Just 7 Nascent Soul Grandmasters. Not a single one of them understood. They didn't know, after the 3 women from Green Mountain entered the mist, where they had gone, or if they had some other strange plan. Arriving at this place completely devoid of mist, these cultivators all breathed a slight sigh of relief. Several core formation stage cultivators even gathered together, preparing to discuss their next move. But just at that moment, suddenly from within the dense fog ahead, to shimmering, fluorescent longswords shot out. Arcs of lightning coiled around them, rumbling incessantly. The cultivators were startled. 2 of the core formation cultivators immediately raised a hand, each releasing a blue and a red streak of light, directly meeting the longswords, intending to strike them down. Who would have known that the 2 silver swords didn't directly clash and entangle with the 2 cultivators' magical treasures. Instead, after circling once, they shot diagonally towards that giant beast at double their speed. At this, the few core formation cultivators were startled at first, but then they relaxed. With the giant beast's defensive power, how could ordinary magical treasures possibly harm it? But then a scene that stunned them appeared. The 2 silver swords did not directly attack the giant beast's body. Instead, as they flew above the giant beast, they suddenly paused. Then, the 2 silver halberds crossed without any warning. They suddenly struck each other. Instantly, a thunderous roar echoed out. Then, a thick arc of electricity shot out from the point where the two silver halberds collided, erupting violently. It fiercely struck towards, striking the giant beast right on its head. A blue protective spiritual aura on the giant beast's body flashed. It was ruthlessly shattered by the silver arc. The arc landed squarely on its jet-black scales. A rumbling sound was heard. After the flash of electricity faded, the giant beast stood there, completely unharmed. But this giant beast seemed to have been enraged. It roared at the sky and suddenly opened its mouth. A 10-foot-long, snow-white ice cone shot out. It shot towards the silver halberds in the air. But the two silver halberds had no intention of fighting. They dodged the ice cone with a slight movement, and shot out another silver arc. Then they fled into the thick fog. Seeing this, the giant beast, the blood-red color in its eyes grew even more intense. Without hesitation, it lifted its paws and gave chase. The several core formation cultivators were alarmed. They hastily gave a signal. The other cultivators behind them activated their escape lights one after another, planning to give chase. But before they could move, suddenly, flashes of multicolored light flickered in the surrounding dense fog. Over 100 cultivators appeared, revealing their figures from all directions, and unleashed numerous magical artifacts, launching a heaven and earth-shattering assault on the mages in the center. The Mulan mages were naturally enraged. They retaliated in kind, using their own magical artifacts, and casting their own spells. The scene immediately descended into chaos. In that moment of delay, Jishishu had already fallen into the dense fog, and disappeared without a trace. Those few core formation mages were intercepted by several high-level cultivators from the attacking group, and were completely pinned down for the moment. They were utterly helpless. At this, they naturally flew into a rage. Just as they were about to use their superior numbers and profound skills, the mages swarmed forward to annihilate all of these cultivators. But those cultivators simultaneously retrieved their magical artifacts, and without hesitation, turned and fled into the sea of fog. Seeing this scene, the mages looked at each other in dismay, unsure whether they should give chase. They began to hesitate. There are too many people. Everyone split up and act separately. Most of the nearby restrictions have already been more or less destroyed. As long as we are careful, nothing major will happen. Since they're set on harassing us, let's go after them and wipe out all these cultivators in one fell swoop. As for the giant beast, mere Yadan cultivators can't possibly harm it. After we've eliminated these cultivators, there will still be time to go back and find it. An elderly man at the late Yadan stage, who was clearly the leader among them, after a moment of thought, calmly gave the order. Then, he took the lead, transforming into a streak of light, and shot directly into the sea of fog ahead, chasing in the direction one of the Yadan cultivators had fled. The other cultivators, upon hearing this, immediately scattered in groups of several people, giving chase in all directions. After the dense fog churned for a moment, it settled down a moment later. For a while, the area was completely deserted, but after another moment, a figure flashed within the green mist. A person walked in with his hands clasped behind his back, with a composed expression and the air of an immortal sage. It was none other than the elder surnamed Ma. At this moment, his face was a bit pale, but his eyes shone with a brilliant golden light, showing no sign of depleted spiritual power. After walking to the center of the clearing, the elder glanced around. A peculiar expression suddenly appeared on his face. "Since I have already come out, why do you still hide? Fellow Taoist, a petty concealment art like this is not enough to fool this old man," the old man said unhurriedly, his gaze fixed on an empty spot. His face was utterly calm. "HMPH, I didn't expect your spiritual sense to be so strong. I had originally planned to give you a little surprise. It seems I won't get my wish now." A man's cold snort came from that spot. Then, with a flash of black light, the figure of Mage Gao Shou was revealed. But the very moment he revealed himself, without saying another word, he rubbed his hands together and thrust them fiercely at the old man. Instantly, dozens of thumb-thick black hairs shot out like a sudden downpour, completely enveloping the old man Ma's figure. Meanwhile, in the thick fog, not far from old man Ma and Mage Gao Shou, who were merely a few hundred yards apart, the bald, burly man stared expressionlessly at the person before him. It was Ku Yao, who stood amidst a ball of raging fire. The wall of flames around this person was gradually turning all the nearby fog into nothing, clearing up an area with a radius of over 100 yards, making it bright and clear. "Ha, do you think that by stopping me, you can save that companion of yours? Master, when spiritual arts are formidable, how would cultivators like you know? You originally planned to sneak up behind the old man and attack the old man with Dharma Master Gao Shou and Chang Heji in a pincer move. But you didn't expect Jin Bei, the bald, burly man before you, to intercept you halfway. Naturally, you're furious. Instead of having the time to worrying about others, you'd be better off thinking about how to save yourself. From yesterday's battle, Ma Dao certainly hasn't recovered his vitality, and I'm afraid you also consumed a great deal of spiritual power, didn't you? In just one night, on top of just presiding over the great spiritual arts formation, that also consumed a massive amount of spiritual power. Unless you have a heaven-defying treasure to help you, otherwise, you must be incredibly weak, right? The burly man was not moved in the slightest. Instead, he spoke with his eyes half closed. Then he opened his mouth, and a pure white short club shot out from it. After circling once, it trembled slightly in front of him. This treasure erupted with a brilliant white light, and began to become dazzlingly bright. Seeing this, Ku Yao's expression showed disdain, and just as he was about to use a divine ability to fight back, his face suddenly changed drastically. He saw the color of the spiritual light opposite him actually begin to transform. From a pure white color, it gradually turned to a golden yellow. At the same time, the shadow of a pale golden beast materialized in the air above the short club. Its appearance was like that of a giant golden monkey. Although its form was not as monstrous as the giant beast, it was still 50 to 60 feet tall, and upon closer inspection, this ape actually had 4 fluffy ears. Its face was hideous and exceptionally vicious. The moment it appeared, it beat its chest with both hands and roared at the sky. Then it lowered its head and glared fiercely at Ku Yao opposite it. Your magic treasure is actually a spirit-forsaking treasure. As soon as Ku Yao saw the monstrous figure clearly, he finally cried out in alarm, "Hey hey! This is the 4-eared golden ape that I, Lu, have subdued. This is the first time it has been revealed to anyone since I captured it. If you are to be killed by it, you will have nothing to complain about." A murderous glint flashed across the robust man's face. He formed a hand seal. The giant ape's form became increasingly distinct. The short staff also expanded instantly, growing to a massive size. The giant ape was like a real demonic beast. Without the slightest hesitation, it reached out a hand and grabbed the massive staff. Then, with a leap, it transformed into a ball of golden light and lunged fiercely at the robust man across from it. The woman in green was not with the elderly Dharma master and Ku Yao. Her goal was very simple, is to rely on her own divine abilities to head straight for the center of the grand formation and destroy the hub of the formation. This way, the grand formation will naturally be broken easily. Of course, before that, she must first eliminate a cultivator. Ever since entering the dense fog, she had clearly sensed a trace. A faint divine sense was wrapped around her. Her own divine sense was almost as powerful as a late Nascent Soul cultivator's, yet she still couldn't block it out completely. This made the woman's heart turn cold, and at the same time, towards that young cultivator, her killing intent surged. A cultivator like this, possessing several strange divine abilities, if not eliminated, would very likely cause unexpected problems in a future great battle. Fortunately, that cultivator seemed to be quite confident in his own divine abilities. He didn't even try to hide his position. It seemed he had every intention of luring her, a Nascent Soul, mid-stage cultivator, over to him. This made the woman sneer inwardly. She then flew straight towards him. When she sensed that the young cultivator was less than 100 jong away from her, a white light flashed from the woman's body. She slowed her flight speed and came to a halt, although she was full of confidence in herself. But she also had no intention, without knowing the other party's situation, or if there were any traps, of rashly engaging them in battle. The woman lightly slapped her storage pouch with one hand. A fist-sized, shimmering green orb silently appeared in her hand. She tossed the golden orb above her head. With a casual flick, she sent out a spell seal. It struck the orb. Instantly, the treasure burst with a radiant light. Countless filaments of green light shot out, instantly piercing the dense fog in an area over 100 yards wide. It transformed into gusts of vibrant green wind. After a furious swirl, the dense fog was blown away. Everything nearby became clearly visible. The Jade Mountain woman's fine brows knitted. She saw that dozens of yards away, a young man in a green robe stood there silently. He was incessantly sizing her up. There was no expression on his face whatsoever. It was Hanli, who had been waiting for a long time. A glint flashed across the woman's face. Her focused gaze swept around, her spiritual sense scanning the surroundings. Then, her brow furrowed slightly. She glanced up towards the sky, only to see, dozens of yards high in the air, a ball of brilliant golden cloud, floating silently in the air. After she focused her spirit and clearly saw the true form of the golden cloud, her expression changed drastically. It's the gold-devouring beetles. So the cultivator, who possesses the spirit insects, is actually you. The beautiful woman let out a soft breath. She spoke with difficulty from her crimson lips. The icy coldness in the depths of her beautiful eyes intensified even further. To think there are so many cultivators among you Mulan people who recognize this insect. So many of you. It truly comes as a surprise to me. Was it the cultivator who escaped from me last time? Who told you? Han Li's heart tensed, but on the surface, he remained impassive and said calmly, "The physical body of Master Mu Shang from the Tian Feng tribe. It was destroyed by your hands, wasn't it?" The woman did not answer Han Li's question directly. Instead, she asked, "Master Mu Shang, the cultivator who chased me last time with the wind-riding chariot. If you mean that person, then his physical body was indeed destroyed by me. If his nascent soul hadn't escaped fast enough, I originally intended to annihilate his spirit as well. Are you thinking of avenging him?" His face showed no signs of anger. He replied in a calm tone, but inwardly, his vigilance immediately heightened. Since this woman knows about the existence of the Qianlin beast soul and the wind thunder wings, it seems I can't deal with this woman using ordinary methods. This has become somewhat troublesome. Otherwise, based on my experience dealing with several Nascent Soul cultivators, he would have used his wind and thunder technique to catch them by surprise, to get close to the opponent, and then use the profound blue ice flame to freeze the opponent solid in a single move. Master Mu's physical body was destroyed, causing his cultivation to be impure. What is there to complain about? However, for your excellency to be able to command the gold-devouring beetles, and to possess so many divine abilities, no matter what, I cannot let you leave today. The beautiful face of the woman in green instantly turned grim. She quickly formed a hand seal with both hands. A white light flashed on her body. A hazy white, ribbon-shaped magical artifact emerged from her body. It moved with the wind. Then, the woman flipped over her right palm. A small, pale yellow cauldron appeared in her hand. This cauldron seemed to be some kind of unknown tomb, refined into its current form. It was about 3 to 4 inches in size, ancient and quaint in appearance. Its surface was engraved with some esoteric runes and incantations. Han Li's divine sense briefly scanned it. His expression changed slightly. Although the gold-devouring beetles are wondrous insects from antiquity, once they are nurtured to maturity, they are nearly indestructible and can devour all things, but they can be immobilized and trapped by a cleansing-type treasure. As it happens, I previously encountered someone who also controlled a two-wu cultivator who used gold-devouring beetles. I specially sought out this yellow-collared cauldron to prepare for their insect-controlling techniques, but I never expected that I wouldn't run into the person I was looking for. Instead, I ran into you, a heavenly south cultivator, who also commands gold-devouring beetles. Otherwise, although your gold-devouring beetles are not yet fully mature, they are so numerous that they would truly be difficult to deal with. The woman in jade green clothes said coldly. With one slender hand, she unhesitatingly reached towards and lightly tapped the ear of the small yellow cauldron. The cauldron immediately shone with a brilliant spiritual light. A yellow light shield faintly appeared from the top of the cauldron, enveloping her figure within it. Someone else has gold-devouring beetles. Upon hearing this, Han Li was shocked. After a twitch of his lips, his expression turned grave. You probably don't know this, do you? The gold-devouring beetles are the mortal enemies of us Mulan people, and the sacred insects of the two-wu people. Their ancestors spent countless years to finally cultivate several dozen mature specimens. Historically, only the most outstanding cultivators among the two-wu people are qualified to inherit them. Ever since they reached maturity, we don't know how many of our magical treasures have been devoured by them. We Mulan people have long hated them to our very core. Since you also possess gold-devouring beetles, and in such great numbers too, although they haven't matured yet, I will never allow you to let them propagate. After the woman from Green Mountain said this with a blank expression, she immediately raised the small cauldron in her hand above her head. The small cauldron spun slowly. After spinning for a moment above her head, a yellow light flashed. A vast, hazy yellow radiance erupted violently from the cauldron, sweeping directly toward the cloud of insects in the air opposite her. When Han Li heard what this woman had said earlier, that mature gold-devouring beetles already existed in the world, he was already a little stunned. But then her tone turned hostile. He immediately focused his mind and temporarily pushed the matter to the back of his mind. At this moment, seeing his opponent activate the cauldron, and its spiritual radiance attacked the gold-devouring beetles directly, his heart sank. But then a murderous glint flashed across his face. He quickly pointed a finger at the insect cloud above him. A sudden buzzing sound was heard. The golden insect cloud scattered in an instant, transforming into countless golden flowers, and shot out in all directions. In the blink of an eye, the gold beetles had turned into countless small swarms. They disappeared into the surrounding sea of fog, vanishing without a trace. In this way, The yellow glowing light naturally swept up nothing. Seeing this, the woman from Green Mountain was startled. She suddenly seemed to realize something. After scanning the surrounding fog for a moment, her eyebrows shot up in anger. Her face turned as cold as frost. You actually commanded the golden insects to attack my other spales. Did you think I would let you get distracted and do that? Before the woman had even finished speaking, she pulled out a white satin ribbon, a magic treasure. She tossed it towards Han Li. After the ribbon circled once, emitting a brilliant white light, it suddenly transformed into a huge, snow-white eagle. Its 2 wings were spread wide, spanning dozens of feet. Its eyes were fiery red, and its sharp talons were pitch black. With a flap of its wings, the snow eagle flashed with white light and instantly vanished from its spot. But in the next moment, it appeared above Han Li. After a sharp cry, this demonic bird suddenly swooped down. Its pair of sharp talons aimed straight for the crown of Han Li's head, swiping down viciously. The giant eagle's incredible speed startled Han Li. But without time to think, he raised a single hand. A clap of thunder exploded. Dozens of slender golden arcs of lightning shot out from his palm. They formed a large golden net that flew up to meet it. It trapped the white eagle within it. Seeing this, the white condor, a vicious glint flashed in its eyes. With a shake of its wings, a sound of tearing through the air rang out. Countless white wind blades shot out densely from its wings, striking the oncoming golden net head-on. A series of rumbling explosions erupted. Golden light and white radiance intertwined. The power of the wind blades was surprisingly immense. Upon making contact, although the golden net blocked most of the wind blades, it was ultimately cut to pieces. The remaining dozens of wind blades broke through the shattered net, shooting towards Han Li. The giant condor also followed closely behind the wind blades, swooping down. A look of surprise flashed in Han Li's eyes, but his face remained expressionless. His 10 fingers flicked continuously. Over 10 streams of azure sword shot out from his hands, blocking the incoming wind blades. Then, with a flip of his palm, a small blue shield appeared in one of his hands. With a slight wave, the small shield, in a flash of blue light, instantly grew into a giant shield about 10 feet wide. A blue fluorescent light flowed continuously on the shield's surface. It shimmered as if it were formed from solidified liquid. It looked very peculiar. At that moment, the verdant sword that shattered the wind blades struck without mercy, slashing towards the giant eagle. The snow eagle showed no fear at all. With a flap of its wings to the left and right, it scattered the verdant sword. Then, it dove down fiercely. Its sharp talons clawed viciously at the blue sawshield. Han Li let out a cold snort. He pointed a single hand at the sawshield, and a brilliant light burst forth. The sharp talons felt as if they were grabbing the surface of water. They only created circles of ripples before being repelled. With a flash from the sawshield, its body couldn't help but sway. But, in that momentary delay, a glint flashed in Han Li's eyes. He raised his other hand, and a ball of black light shot through the air. It immediately transformed into a massive, blackish-red giant hand. It swooped down with the speed of lightning, and forcefully seized the giant eagle's body in its grasp. With a sizzle, flames instantly erupted from the giant hand's 5 fingers. Ink-black flames enveloped the giant eagle within them. Its sharp, shrill cries were incessant. The giant eagle struggled desperately within the giant hand. Its beak, like an iron hook, pecked frantically without pause. Seeing this, Han Li relaxed slightly. He raised his head and glanced at the woman opposite him. He saw that the green-robed woman, regarding the capture of the giant eagle, she paid it no mind. Instead, with a solemn expression, she began chanting some kind of ancient incantation. Han Li listened intently, but found it profound and difficult to understand. His heart couldn't help but tighten. Then he saw the woman's hands were spread apart, all 10 fingers separated, held up flat in the shape of a lotus flower. Above them, a hazy white ball of light flickered incessantly. Vaguely, it looked like a white lotus bud about to bloom, slowly taking shape. What is this? Han Li was startled, although he didn't know what trick she was up to. But for something that required a mid-Nascent Soul cultivator to spend so long chanting an incantation to activate, it had to be an extraordinary technique. No matter what, he could not allow her to cast the spell so successfully. Thinking of this, Han Li's expression turned grim as he flicked his large sleeve. Dozens of azure streaks shot out from his cuff like swimming fish. They then linked together, forming an expanse of azure light. A myriad of sword chests swept towards his opponent. Taking advantage of this moment, Han Li raised his other hand and made a light gesture towards the giant hand that was locked in a stalemate. The black-red giant hand immediately clenched its 5 fingers forcefully. It yanked the giant bird straight down. In the blink of an eye, it was right in front of Han Li. Han Li reacted without even thinking. She opened her mouth and a stream of light blue ice flame shot out. It struck the body of the relentlessly struggling giant condor. a sizzling sound was heard. The flame made contact with the giant condor. In an instant, a layer of blue light flashed across its body, freezing it into an ice statue. Its eyes were still frozen wide open, captured in a lifelike pose of desperate struggle. A hint of joy appeared on Han Li's face, just as she was about to make her next move. Suddenly, a light, graceful sound, like celestial music, came from the other side. Then, a blinding expanse of white light erupted from that spot. A seemingly soft yet substantial curtain of white light spread out, covering an area of 1,000 feet in every direction, enveloping everything within it. Seeing this, Han Li had a bad feeling. She hastily turned her head to look. A strange scene appeared before her on the other side. From the mouth of the green-robed woman, the sound like a sudden downpour had stopped, but she remained in her original posture. It was just that the blossom of white light in her hand, not only had it bloomed, petal by petal, but it was also floating about 10 feet above the woman's head, emitting a dazzling white spiritual light, and the golden glow from the green bamboo wind cloud sword he had released was now stopped several feet in front of this woman. It desperately circled and danced up and down, but it seemed to be blocked by some kind of invisible barrier. It was completely unable to get any closer. Han Li's eyes couldn't help but narrow. That white lotus didn't seem to be formed from any treasure. It was formed entirely by the condensation of the woman's own spiritual power. To actually possess such power, this truly came as a great surprise to Han Li. However, the surprise thought only flashed through his mind for a moment. Then, with a grim expression, he took a deep breath. His right arm suddenly shot up. It was covered in a layer of faint black aura. The black aura constantly expanded and contracted, as if it were alive. It gradually grew denser. When it became as black as ink, a solemn expression appeared on Han Li's face. At the same time, his entire arm rapidly expanded. In the blink of an eye, it grew to 2 to 3 times its original thickness. A layer of blinding, blood-red light even appeared on its surface. Shrouded in the black aura, it looked incredibly eerie. This was precisely the Yin Devil Slash that Han Li cultivated. At that moment, Han Li gave the woman in the jade-colored gown a cold glance. As it happened, the woman had also finished casting her spell. She likewise raised her head. Her bright eyes shifted to look over at him. The moment her gaze met Han Li's eyes, it fell upon Han Li's monstrous-looking arm. A flash of light glinted in his eyes. Han Li let out a low shout without any hesitation. He lowered his arm and swung it into the void. A semicircular blade of black and red light shot out from his arm. As soon as it left his hand, a deafening roar of it tearing through the air exploded. The blade of light left a long trailing gleam. In an instant, it arrived at the place enveloped by the White Lotus's spiritual light. The woman from Green Mountain's elegant eyebrows twitched. She opened her mouth and sprayed a cloud of crystalline white cha onto the White Lotus. Instantly, a layer of lotus phantoms materialized out of thin air from the White Lotus. It enveloped the woman within it as if it were solid. With a flash of light, the blade of light struck the lotus phantom squarely. At first, it easily sliced deep inside, but after penetrating several layers of the lotus phantom, its momentum was greatly reduced. After slowing, it became trapped within, unable to move an inch. A hint of triumph appeared on the woman's face, but then, the expression in her eyes suddenly changed, because the opposing Han Li had, without another word, thrown out a pitch-black object. The moment this thing left his hand, it grew wildly in the blink of an eye, transforming into a black mountain peak over 100 jong high. It smashed down menacingly toward the woman inside the lotus phantom. The woman saw the 1,000 layers peak, a colossal mountain descending majestically. He blurted out. This was a rather famous ancient treasure among magical artifacts. How could he not recognize it? Even with his mid-Nascent Soul cultivation level, and the ancient Buddhist secret technique he was currently using, he would absolutely not dare to face this mountain head-on. The woman had no time to think. Her 2 hands formed an incantation seal. Her figure, the white curtain above her, and the small yellow canopy, merged together within a white light, instantly transforming into a wisp of clear wind, and vanished from within the lotus shadow. The next moment, after a flash of light over 20 jong away, the woman's slender figure reappeared in the clear light. The milky white lotus shadow at the original spot, although without the woman's magical power to support it, did not immediately disappear. But under the pressure of the black giant mountain, it held on for a moment, before shattering into pieces and dissipating. Wind escape technique. Han Li's face showed no trace of joy. Instead, after muttering to himself, he began to curse his luck inwardly. To think that this woman actually knew such a bizarre escape art, on par with the lightning escape technique. In that case, unless he could trap her in an inescapable place, there was almost no way to defeat her. But even so, Han Li still planned to give it a try. he still found it hard to believe his opponent's wind escape technique was executed as masterfully as his own wind thunder wings. With such ease and proficiency, as long as he could get close to her, he believed that, with the terrifying power of the Qianlun ice flame, even if that white lotus was bizarre, he could still easily inflict heavy damage on her. While his mind was racing, Han Li's hands moved without any hesitation. He directed the black-red light shards that had finally broken free, and the dozens of azure wine blades, with the point of his finger. Instantly, these items followed like shadows, shooting towards the woman in green who had dodged to the side. At the same time, a clap of thunder sounded from behind Han Li. A pair of silver-white wings unfurled, appearing behind him. With a gesture of both hands, the blue light shield in front of him rapidly shrank and shot into Han Li's sleeve. Meanwhile, the black-red serrated hand above his head, which had been gripping the serrated vulture, also released the vulture, which had been turned into an ice statue. It turned into a ball of black light and lunged towards the woman. A glint flashed in Han Li's eyes. He then raised a single hand. A ball of blue fire appeared on his palm. Instantly, his hand shone with a brilliant blue light, bewitchingly dazzling. Silver arcs of electricity flashed wildly. Amidst a deafening roar, Han Li vanished in a flash. At the same time that Han Li took action, the woman from Green Mountain saw Han Li's endless stream of treasures, and she started to get a massive headache.